Lieutenant Governor for Ohio was inaugurated today. Jim Tressel was sworn in around 11 a.m. Friday morning as the 67th Lieutenant Governor of Ohio. The ceremony took place in the State House Rotunda. Tressel was nominated for the position by Governor Mike DeWine on Monday. He retired a year and a half ago as the president of Youngstown State University. Tressel also served as the Ohio State University football head coach from 2001 to 2010. He becomes the lieutenant governor after John Husted was tapped to fill the U.S. Senate seat left vacant by J.D. Vance's election as vice president. Tressel says although he doesn't know what makes him qualified, he can promise his love and lessons learned through life will help him succeed.
And the thing that these guys taught me is that if you love one another, regardless of where you came from, what you look like, what you believe, if you love one another, it's amazing what you can accomplish. We all have a lot of technical endeavors. We have budgets. We have this. We have that. But we've got to make sure the concern for our Ohioans and their fate, their future, is our chief concern.
Tressel also talked highly of Governor DeWine, saying he was an inspiration by his wealth of knowledge and dedication for the state of Ohio. He says he is honored to serve alongside Governor DeWine.